So about a couple of years ago, I went to Houston to see my cousins, as well as my homeboy. His brother lived there. We went on a guy's trip to Houston, had a good time. And the whole time while I was there, everybody like, you gotta go to Turkey Leg Hut. You gotta go to Turkey Leg Hut. So I said, you know what? It's Sunday. You know, in Houston, they do the Sunday fun day thing. And I said, you know what? I gotta pull up. Now, automatically when I pulled up there, I knew what type of activities it was because I'm from Atlanta. So we already know this is a nigga business. So we in line. I knew it was about to take about an hour. But they do accommodate you really well. It seemed nice and organized. But then the nigga activities started happening. I'm talking about I'm way in the back of the line. All of a sudden, everybody running towards me as if a bomb just dropped. I'm like, oh shit, somebody about to shoot. Somebody fighting. And that's exactly what was going on. I'm talking about niggas was while they running the other way, I'm scooting up in the line. I just know how this worked. I ended up seeing the police came. They came, got rid of them dudes. Them dudes was bloodied up. I don't know what type of fighting they was doing, but they was fighting for the death. I even saw Desi Banks getting the hell out of there after that fight happened. Yeah, it was that type of activities. And I was like, oh, I see what this is. This is one of those businesses that's just popping right now. There's no long-term plan here. And it turns out I was right. Now, when I do my research on the Turkey Leg Hut, the Turkey Leg Hut was owned by a man named Lynn Price, who was a former convicted felon of tax fraud. And I guess, maybe he got his shit together and turned his life around like the hokey pokey. And he got the Turkey Leg Hut. And the Turkey Leg Hut was an instant hit. Lyndale Price wasn't the only owner of Turkey Leg Hut, though. His wife also was part owner. Her name was Nakia Holmes. And together they made a killing. Well, at least that's what we thought. But it turns out that maybe they were either spending or mismanaging their funds, because it would be a lot that would come out. But we'll get to that later. What I want to focus on is that Mr. Lyndale Price was a very strict business owner. Yeah, he was very strict with his employees. Some would say he was trying to be the new Suge Knight of the turkey game. Yeah, they said that he was trying to run the business like Beanie Siegel. Get down or lay down. But we gonna get to all of that. But first, here goes just one of the first videos that revealed the temperament of the people that had to work with Lyndale Price. This is him getting on his employees for being on the phone too much. Look how he talked to them. Look what he's saying.
In the morning, turn your phone in as soon as you hit that door. I'm not gonna tell y'all. As soon as you hit that door, turn your phone in. Why? Because you're on my clock here. I'm telling y'all from this point on, it ain't by catching y'all on your phone. If I catch you after 9 with your phone, you're fired. And take it for what it is. And I'm gonna take what come with it. And I'm telling you what it is. So I'm telling you, from tomorrow on, if you get that tap from one of the managers, I'm not gonna play with you fired. In the morning.
Okay, maybe that wasn't that bad, right? This is kind of the first thing we showing y'all. Maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe people were on the phone doing too much, so he had to reprimand them. Y'all are getting paid on my dime. And y'all cannot be on the phone at work unless it's an emergency. So we're gonna give him a pass right there. Now, he would be having problems with his wife as well, because she would come out and say that he was abusing her. I even heard reports that he might have been smashing some little things at the job. Yeah, this man was really a trip.
Let me tell y'all how y'all manifested this right here. Remember when I did the video about the other Houston couple who restaurant ended up closing and they got 15 and 20 years in federal prison for defrauding the government? In my comment section, y'all, it was like 300 to 400 comments saying Turkey Leg Hut gonna be next. Turkey Leg Hut gonna be next. Turkey Leg Hut gonna be next. And look at this. When I say the algorithm be algorithming, y'all, look what comes up. Listen, Nakia says that her husband is abusing her, and I believe it. Lyndale, because that's your name, not Lynn. What type of name is that for a man anyway? But that's a whole nother topic. I believe her. And let me tell y'all why I believe her. Because I have been in this type of situation. And the way he talks to people and the way he does on camera, he's not talking to you. He's talking at you. He's doing it in a demanding tone. And I can pick a narcissist from a mile away. Like I said, once you done dealt with one, you can see all the same character traits, and he has the character traits of a narcissist. And I'm gonna tell her, if you listen personally, y'all tag her, it doesn't get better, it gets worse. They don't change, because when the narrative is not around them or doesn't stick around them, they flip-flop. They want to go to another prey, and he is abusing her. I can see it. The way they talk, the way they interact with each other, y'all, I can see it. I don't care how y'all feel, but y'all can get in my comments, because guess what? I can see a narcissist from a mile away, and I can see an abusive narcissist from a mile away too. Y'all know what to do. Get in those comments. Let's go.
Now, these two would end up getting a divorce. And actually, Nakia Price divorcing him might have been the best thing that ever happened to her, because she would eventually end up escaping a charge that her ex-husband, Lynn Price, would be facing. But before we get to that, we have to explain on how the financial woes started happening at the Turkey Leg Hut. How could a business that's thriving, that I waited an hour and some change outside of, be struggling financially? How? Well, I don't know where they was misplacing their money, but they had a team of investors. And those investors would end up suing them for $300,000 because the IRS was coming to take millions of dollars that they owed. It was just a mess, man.
But first tonight, more legal trouble for Houston's well-known Turkey Leg Hut.
A Grammy-nominated gospel singer James Fortune and his wife are now suing the restaurant's owner over claims they put more than $300,000 into the restaurant and are now out of the money. Sherman Chow joins us live with the story you'll see only on KHU 11 News. Sherman, this is just the latest problem for this popular restaurant.
It is indeed, Mia. We are outside of Turkey Leg Hut, which remains closed because of 35 health department code violations. And now a new lawsuit has been filed, and we are learning exclusively that a nationally known gospel artist says he and his wife have been violated too. James Fortune, gospel singer, husband, and investor. In 2018, he and wife Raquel met Nakia and Lindell Price at the Price's popular Third Ward restaurant. Turkey Leg Hut seemed the epitome of success.
We go to their home, we spend time, our kids interacted with each other.
Then last December, as the Prices were in the throes of a contentious divorce, the Fortunes say they loaned Nakia, as the restaurant's owner, $100,000. 2 months later, Raquel says Nakia phoned.
She was hysterical. Because the comptrollers were physically there to seize assets, and so she needed financial assistance immediately.
The Fortunes then say they put in $180,000 for 15% ownership of the Turkey Leg Hut. The next month, the Fortunes tell us Nakia couldn't pay bills.
So she asked if I would use my personal card to purchase food for the business.
The Fortunes say they spent thousands paying for food supplies and services. Then, on March 26th, Turkey Leg Hut filed for bankruptcy, declaring less than $50,000 in assets.
By then, we're, $300,000 in. Bankruptcy was filed a month after we had given that money. We come to find out that there's millions in debt now.
Over the past several weeks, I went to the Turkey Leg Hut, contacted employees, attorneys, and Nakia Holmes requesting an interview, which she declined. The Fortunes say in hopes of keeping the restaurant afloat, they even paid some employees when Turkey Leg Hut did not. Did you take a business risk and it just didn't work, as opposed to something more nefarious?
I think I allowed my friendship to blind me in a lot of areas. It's no words to describe the level of pain, hurt, and frustrations.
The Fortunes say they put in nearly $400,000 into the restaurant. Now they are suing and praying in hopes of getting their money back. Now, we should note that some of the players in this ongoing Turkey Leg Hut drama do have criminal convictions, including James Fortune. Those are from several years past and are unrelated to Turkey Leg Hut and this lawsuit. I did contact Nakia Holmes yesterday again for comment. Her representative declined a response. We're live here in the Third Ward. Sherman Chow, KHOU 11 News.
So much going on. Sherman, thank you.
As you see, things were spiraling. The turkey leg hut was a success enough for the Fortunes, pun intended, to spend a fortune and invest. But something was already wrong. You see, obviously, the money was going in the wrong directions. Well, it turns out that Mr. Price was still in his criminal element, because in 2020, a mysterious explosion and fire would happen down the street at 5015, a new bar owned by a man who used to work with the Prices and decided to invest in himself and make his own business. A mysterious fire would happen and it would really shake up the neighborhood. The explosion was so bad that the neighbors' windows was popping out. The other businesses next to them was messed up. It was debris all in the streets. It seemed like we were working with maybe a modern day Suge Knight mixed with a James St.Patrick all in one.
Bar 5015, now just a pile of debris after a blast leveled part of the building. Several businesses and homes nearby were also damaged. HFT says the fire was intentionally set. Now they're looking for an arsonist. Jason Miles at the scene off Alameda Road, where the cleanup continues more than 12 hours later.
I'm told the bar here only opened a couple of months ago after an extensive renovation. It was destroyed in an instant. A neighbor's surveillance camera caught the sound of the blast that did all of this damage.
I've never seen anything like this before.
Troy Williams owns the landmark Alfreda's Soul Food right next door to the bar and fears what might have happened if he'd shown up super early when he normally does.
Probably thrown up against the wall or dead or half dead or lost my hearing. So I'm really, really appreciative to God that I wasn't in that building this morning.
Houston Fire says the building blew up around 4:45 a.m., some 6 hours after the bar closed, awakening neighbors and breaking windows for blocks in every direction.
Glass all over my bedroom, my windows are shattered, pictures are knocked off the wall.
From the get-go, the ATF and FBI were both assisting HFD, and they confirmed late today that the fire and resulting explosion were intentional, and they're collecting all evidence necessary to pursue an arson case.
We're going to work with these other agencies and just go through the evidence very meticulously and make sure that we, give it a proper investigation.
People in the area who've come to know Bar 5015 and its owner hope they can recover.
To see this is just a heartbreak for not only him, but for this neighborhood.
A neighborhood rocked by an explosion that could have been much more devastating. I spoke briefly today to the owner of the bar, who was not yet willing to talk, other than to say this was unimaginable. Back to you.
Now, apparently, James St.Patrick, aka Lindell Price, he didn't like the fact that somebody that was under his tutelage went and did a successful business. Not only that, I told you, he's looking at this like the restaurant game is the drug game. Not only did the person that he showed the ropes to leave and go do a successful business on the same street, he set up shop in my trap, he also went to the same crab leg supplier. Oh no, imagine this. Imagine I put you in the drug game and then you go set up your trap house on the same block as my trap house. Now everybody's interested in going there and I'm struggling. On top of that, you went to my same plug, whether it's crab legs or it's motherfucking 2 tons of crack. You out of line, and I gotta do something about it. So James St.Patrick went over there and got some people off the street to go blow up his business.
New at 3, bombshell claims in the federal arson case against the former Turkey Leg Hut co-owner. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Andy Serrano.
And I'm Lisa Hernandez. Right now, a judge is deciding whether to keep Lynn Price in custody after prosecutors shared concerns that he threatened a witness or potential jurors. KPRC2's Bryce Newberry live in the newsroom after hours in the courtroom this morning. Bryce.
Yeah, Lisa and Andy, for the former turkey leg hut owner, federal prosecutors say the turkeys have come home to roost. They say for years, Lynn Price has tried to keep his hands clean of crimes, paying off others to do the dirty work, and they want to keep him in custody. During a more than 2-hour hearing, an FBI agent testified that Price paid $1,400 to have his ex-business partner's bar, 5015, blown up nearly 5 years ago. This is surveillance video from that early morning in June of 2020 when masked men poured gasoline all over the patio before that fire that then caused an explosion and destroyed the building. An indictment unsealed last week alleges that Lynn Price orchestrated this plan. The owner of that bar allegedly told FBI agents he initially planned to bring Lynn Price into that business, but then decided not to. The owner allegedly turned down a box of cash Lynn Price brought him to be part of the ownership team. And then when Bar 5015 started selling crawfish, apparently using the turkey leg hut supplier, the owner said Lynn Price called screaming and hollering and threatened to blow the place up.
Okay, hey, listen, if I'm a former street nigga, right? I got a successful business. I'll put you on to my business, right? You a business owner in the turkey leg hut. You leave me for whatever reason, start your own business. You were originally gonna put me down with your business 5015 on the same street. And then you change your mind when I bring you a box of cash. Now, to your defense, you probably saw the writings on the wall. This dude ain't a good businessman. And he a street nigga, he a shrewd nigga trying to do business with me. I don't need no ties to that in my business. But I'm looking at it from the other perspective too. I helped you out. You scratch my back. I'm struggling. We scratch each other back. You say, no, I brought you some cash. Look, bro, cash right here in hand. What's happening? And you say no? And then you turn around and get the same supplier I got? How is this not like the drug game? Why am I wrong for blowing your shit up? We on some street shit, nigga. Fuck wrong with you?
So in the past, Lynn Price went to federal prison on tax fraud related charges. Once he got out on supervised release, prosecutors allege that he's been involved in other criminal activity, including paying a co-defendant in this arson case to steal vehicles and heavy machinery. The FBI agent testified under oath that same co-defendant admitted to bringing truckloads of hydro marijuana from California that would be stored at the turkey leg hut and then got sold at the restaurant.
Now, when I told y'all that this man was the modern day James St.Patrick, did y'all think I was playing? Lindell Price had a nigga roll running. On some young scooter shit, he had that boy going all the way to California and driving that motherfucking package all the way back to the turkey leg hut in Houston, Texas. And not only did he use turkey leg hut as the headquarters, he was distributing the marijuana through the turkey leg hut building. You cannot make this up. This dude must have watched too much TV because you really thought that you was gonna be doing all this, my boy, and not get caught. All I know is the fact that the feds know there's somebody telling, bro. It's not looking good for you, man.
In custom branded packaging, prosecutors allege Lynn Price got the proceeds and gave some of the money to that co-defendant. And while he's not charged connected to those allegations specifically, Price's attorney argues he is not a danger to the community. He's actually helped the community after natural disasters.
Mr. Lindell Price deserves a bond for various reasons. One, being that he's not a danger to the community. You heard multiple testimony as it relates to his community involvement, the things that he does for the community. But more importantly, the co-defendants that are on his indictment have all been given a bond. So we're asking for equity and asking for a bond similar to the other people on his indictment.
The federal judge ended this hearing by saying there's a lot to think about and she's going to chew on it. We don't yet know when she'll make a decision about keeping Lynn Price in custody.
And wait. We're not done yet, y'all. You see, this man, Lindell White, is so much of a criminal, and he's still addicted to the streets. To the point where he had his eyes set on a 1975 Chevy Nova, not because he wanted the vehicle. He wanted the engine out of it, but he didn't want to go about it by actually going to the owner saying, hey, how much you'll charge me for this? How much you'll charge me to get that? Look, let me take that off your hands. No, he just wanted the engine. So he paid some motherfuckers to go take and steal that car so he could just take the engine out of it, because that's what he was interested in. But it turns out that the car was already stolen, and it was stolen from a police officer. So when they found that out, they said, no, we got to get rid of this. So he did what he did best. He paid some niggas to set that shit on fire. So now that's a part of the indictment as well. So he's facing a lot of time. He's in trouble.
And Bryce, we understand Lynn Price is accused of another arson in this current indictment. What did you find out about that?
Yeah, Andy, in April of 2020, prosecutors say he paid a co-defendant to steal a 1975 Chevy Nova because Lynn Price wanted the engine out of it. But once they took that truck to the mechanic, they found out it had been stolen from a police officer who owned it. It was then found burned near railroad tracks and a retention pond. Now, around both of these alleged arsons, prosecutors say call records show the two men were in touch.
And Bryce, we know you sat in court throughout the morning. What was Price's demeanor like in court today, and what do we know about what happens next?
Lisa, Lynn Price was still handcuffed and shackled. He was wearing an olive green jumpsuit. He had many people there to support him and seemed hopeful at the beginning of this hearing. He was nodding at them as they came in, but then as the hearing went on, he seemed to keep his head down. And then at times when some of these new allegations came out and were discussed, he would appear to react and shake his head. He was then taken back into custody while we await this judge's decision.
He lost his wife. He lost his business. What else could he lose at this point? It's over with. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below, man. Do y'all think that this man was operating wrong? Do y'all think that, hey, I get his point. I'll be mad too at the 50-15. Let's talk about it down below in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. And we out, baby. Boom!
Big Just LaFlare.
It's him.